Hello, everybody. Uh, I'm your host Malachi for the Dragoncast. Today I'm joined by.
Hey there, I'm G. I'm a staff member, I think.
Uh, I'm Kaya, also staff.
I'm Toshiro, staff member in Culture Rugrats.
And today we're here with episode 14 of the Dragoncast. First up on our agenda today is a quick review of the last few weeks of the main season. If everybody wants to kind of give their highlights and just some quick overview.
My quick thing is, something to do with my team. Rugrats, Goten going elite, which is weird to say that we only ever had two elites and he got both. Thought it would be Goten Trunks or Rayleigh. Outside of that, hybrids. Hybrids going crazy the majority of the first 5 weeks. And getting 3 elites in a row. Yeah, that those are probably my highlights right there.
Uh, yeah, no, I've been enjoying the weeks overall. There was one week where it was a little stumpier than we enjoy usually, but overall it's been a lot of good matches. It's been fun watching King Vegeta do really well on the Royals. It's been scary watching Teen Gohan be Teen Gohan again.
Yeah.
Cinema's picking up steam, where we've been saying, it's been a lot. It's Sentai picking up a lot of steam now that they've got Jiren, and even without Jiren this week, they did really well. So it's been really nice to see a lot of the adjustments and improvements along the league.
Yeah, it's been chaotic, and I expect nothing to carry over and continue on into the end of the main season. I expect everything to be completely different. So I don't know what to think about this. I remember, I think it was 2020, Cold started off really well that season too, and then they were like middling by the end. GT was the exact opposite, and I don't know. Now it's a bit more extreme than that season for those two, but we'll see what happens.
GT's going to just have a repeat of 2020. They went 0-6 in 2020, and then they started winning every other match.
Yeah.
I believe in you, Zal. You got this, man.
Same.
Yeah. Nah, I think GT. Yeah, it's interesting to see how, with all the changes that have gone on, like androids trying to get super perfect cell in 16 to work, making that team seem a little on the weaker side than what you would normally expect.
You know what they need? They need Jerome.
Hush.
No, let's hear him out.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, Giro is with GT, so, if anyone needs to make him work, they can make him work.
I mean, they did in a little bit in the testing season, so.
True. Yeah, like, you see some of the changes with teams like androids, like high points like seeing Nam go elite, even though it was against androids. I mean, it's been a crazy season so far. I mean, I'm just happy to see Jiren has had some good starts. It feels very good to have that work from last year validated.
Yeah, that was a lot that went into that, so it's always nice to see that we calibrated him correctly.
He's strong, but he's not oppressive.
He's not Nova Shenron the first time he was allowed in the league.
Yeah. All right. With that, with the first third of the season gone, we've got something coming up. Why don't you tell us about that, G?
Yeah, so like the last 2 seasons, we're doing the All-Star event. After week 9, there'll be the All-Star Battle Sweepers and so on and so forth. And in 2 weeks from now, the voting for the All-Star event will open up, so you can vote for who you think are the best characters in the league so far. It'll only take up to week 7 stats as usual, so keep that in mind. It's only a little bit under a half of the season worth of stats. And then after week 9, the actual event will go forward. We do have a couple of tweaks, as we do with most seasons, so look out for those when we announce it.
Yeah, I think the only one that's been announced so far is for the sweeper games. We are implementing a minimum, average damage requirement, just so we can make things a little bit easier for everybody to know if, okay, is this somebody who can go in or not? Yeah, but we also, many of the listeners have probably already heard this, but we just want to remind everybody that we will be changing the Gauntlet this year. The Gauntlet is a long-standing challenge to the league teams to overcome the craziest builds that can be built. But we are going to be condensing that into more of a boss rush format. So instead of 4 rounds, up to 16 matches, it's 1 round. And with 4 matches. So hopefully that should, help things that keep them fresh during the stream without things growing stale. Kyle, you are with old staff too. You got any thoughts on that?
I think the Gauntlet's already gone through a couple rehashes. It got beat once or twice, I believe. So it's gotten to a point where it's not quite. It wasn't quite at hitting your head against the wall, but it was so much work to go into it, and I know some teams, once their team was eliminated, they kind of lost interest in the match because of how the event, because of how long was left in it then. So this just feels like a nice next step, with the change like this. So I'm excited to see how it goes and how everyone feels watching it.
Same. I think it will be quite fun.
Don't worry, it's still strong. Definitely.
Oh yes, do not worry. We have our active supporters already know this. We have published the available red Pataras, so that everybody knows exactly what tools we have at our disposal for this event. There's many fun options. Let's just say there's plenty of challenge. Everyone who enjoys the Gauntlet for fighting these absurdly strong enemies, you will still get that here in the boss rush. So, but yeah. And moving on from that, Tosh, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about the TickTok that we've been running with.
So on TikTok, we've been actually getting a good amount of traction and everything, because for those that followed or is from TikTok and everything, we were kind of posting inconsistently to an extent, but the shorts on YouTube, they kept on going. So talking with a few of the staff members and also Buzz, who's our community manager basically, or social media, he's helping out with that. Basically, I basically looked into changing how we do our scheduling. So on YouTube, as you probably noticed, that we get 1 short every other day. On TikTok, we get 2. They get 2 shorts every other day. And the reason for this, you may think, is, oh well, we're mainly on YouTube. The thing is that on YouTube, it seems kind of weird when you post multiple shorts in a day, at least from the experience that we've done a few times. On TikTok, it feels like it's a lot more necessary in order to gain traction, and it's actually worked out a lot. We actually had one video, one short that you guys will be seeing up on YouTube, I believe this week. It got over 6,000 views and it's still climbing. While we still are like low in followers, we've been getting a steady amount and everything, and the rest of our shorts on there have been getting decent views for us on TikTok for how our follower base is. So we're still like learning everything. So basically, the long end of it is, if you want to see the shorts and everything like that more often, and basically they come out sooner, go on TikTok, follow us on there and everything. You'll see it on there. Like I said, eventually it'll be put on YouTube. That's just how it is right now until, unless something changes. That's what we're working with. So just wanted to throw that out there just so you guys know. So yeah.
Okay. And with that, before we get to the questions, just a quick reminder that we are always looking for people to get involved with the league, either as supporters or coaches. We understand not everybody has the time to do some of that, but even if you guys can just watch a match and help take stats, that is immensely helpful for everybody. And it's a very easy way to get involved in the league. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and wanting to get involved, now's the time to join us in the Discord, and look to join us for stats. Anybody else have anything they want to raise before we move on to questions?
No, I don't think so.
Let's go.
All right. Let's move on to the questions. There were no questions. I checked the YouTube. We had a lot of people liking the request for questions, but nobody actually asked any questions from over there. But Snuffy, but in our Discord, we have quite a few. First up is Snuffy Sam asking, are there any FA benched characters you were surprised by? For reference, the list of characters FA benched week 1 were Ginyu, Kid Goku, Pan, Jiro, Roshi, Apul, Blue, Pilaf, Raditz, Raccoon, Tamarine, and a whole bunch of others. And then later on, Devilman was swapped out for Raccoon with a boost.
Yeah. So the Raccoon thing was clearly just for the memes and the Devilman play, which I appreciate. I respect that. Good on you, Muscle. Yeah. Moral victory.
Let's be real. That's the real victory of the season, is getting the 38k Devil Might meme.
Yeah.
That is the real victory.
Out of the characters there that actually are still on the FA bench, probably the most surprising to me is Roshi.
That's who I was going to say.
Yeah, he's being the obvious choice to pull him in would be for Kui on third. I don't actually know how well Kui has been doing so far, but I'll look it up as well. But considering Roshi was a 45k character last season, I am shocked the testing.
If I recall, they couldn't find a build, and I think that's what Fiora said in the YouTube chat yesterday. They couldn't find a definitive build for Roshi.
Yeah, Kui has an average right now of 26,000.
Was the build he used last season not available?
I don't remember what kind of build they had.
I think Dodoria uses a very similar build, because they're both key blues.
Also with Hercule, even though he's down to Super +1, he probably uses a decent amount of key guitars as well. So.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, there is a chance that the guitars Roshi used to use kind of taken from better characters.
Yeah. Roshi would probably be up there for me. I think the other one, just considering who the FA was, would be Jiro. Especially considering how good Jiro was looking in some of the testing compared to Grandpa Gohan. There, though, it's at least more of a toss-up.
I understand why they haven't used Zero. It's because
It's
all
true.
you Android members have infected their minds with the wrong opinion. So, of course, being around that for so long, they're gonna think, yeah, Jerome needs to stay on that flavor. Pretty bad, honestly.
That's fair.
I will say for one team, for Royals, while I'm not surprised that Tambourine is FA benched right now, I won't be surprised if Deborah takes the bench next and Tambourine comes in. Because Tambourine.
I could see that.
Amazing last.
Oh, he did?
Yo, totally.
If I
He did.
I did their stats, but I didn't know he did anything in week 4. Or
He did exactly as I predicted he would.
Okay, hold on. That could be a very low bar here.
okay,
that
listen.
It was a very low bar. I think he did. Now this week is a little hard to tell because he did like 20 or 30k, but it was against 13.
So he did 13k week 1, week 2, 29,
Like I said, he did exactly as I expected.
week
he would.
3, 16k.
He wasn't in week 4.
Wait, yeah, week 4 he was out. So, and I haven't done stats for Royals yet for this week.
Yeah, like
It's
But
the
the-
horror curse.
But the
I-
man has
I-
a 19k average.
yeah, like I think it's Deborah continuing the trend of doing great in testing, awful in the main season. I don't know what their final decision will be going into week 6.
Tambourine would not be a bad call.
Yeah, like you know, that being said, I think with Royals being what are they 4-1?
I believe so.
Like if they want to keep pushing with Deborah, I think they have that freedom. I think I recall Buzz or Fat Happy is saying that this was going to probably be like depending on how Deborah did in week 5, that was going to be their litmus test to see if he got FA bench for Tambourine, but we'll see.
I think the more fun thing is they're 4-1 with the character doing 19,000 average.
Yeah, like I now to be fair, like King Vegeta has really brought it back for them the last
That's-
couple weeks,
That's
which
the
is
best
part
part
of it.
It's King Vegeta being clutch.
Yeah.
That's the best part of it.
And it is great to see. It is so different, especially when you consider like on Kaiju, he really struggled.
Hold on a second. He's been a consistent 40k character like his entire
King,
existence.
King
Oh,
Vegeta
no.
has, yeah, but right now he has an average of 56,000, and he is the highest damaging character
Sure.
on Royals.
He's
Sure,
You
I
can't
understand
knock
that.
that.
I'm
He's
just
been
saying.
better. On
You,
that.
you gotta understand, the transformations have been surprisingly effective.
Yeah.
Which I don't think will last, but it's great that it's working out so far.
Gonna
Yeah.
last forever.
Yeah.
Like just some actual B2s hitting that's all it needs. That's all I'm
Like
gonna say.
King Vegeta was FA bench all last season.
And the season before that, he was 46k average. So I'm actually kind of surprised he was benched all last season.
So, yeah. Any closing thoughts on that question, guys?
Pan deserves where she's supposed to be at.
Wow.
I'm just saying that. Anyways, all right, let's continue.
You mean go 10 slot?
Did you? Okay, sure, whatever.
You could be having those pan elites, but no.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So, Armed Raw is asking thoughts on week 4 being a slaughterhouse.
I loved
That was
it.
bloody.
It happens. It just, it happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only
I
loved it
mean-
because it worked out for me.
As a viewer, I find it fun every now and again just to have one of those weeks where every match is just a one-sided beatdown. It does get demoralizing sometimes. When you're a supporter of a team and you're receiving one of those beatdowns. But I'd also just echo what Kaio said. Like, this is an RNG league. Everything is determined by the AI, and sometimes you're just gonna have a week like that.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that a lot of them happen in the same week.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
What was it, like 5 matches?
Something like that. 5 or 6 of them pretty much stops with like one character not hitting the field.
Yeah.
it's like rolling marbles down a hill to some degree. You're just gonna have to hope they don't snatch onto something and get stuck.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can really do to affect the way the outcome comes.
It's unfortunate that it happened, but as we saw with this week, where the matches were a lot closer, it was just
Hey, great weeks. That's why it's fun. Random stuff happen all the time. It's like no way to really predict it.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Next question. From Havoc, but I'm head of the table. Early Kai predictions for season 2023.
Every team that's 4-1 and above is going to be in either East or North, and every team that's 1-4 and below is going to be in either West or South. That's all I'm giving you.
There you go. That worked
Yep.
for me. It's way too early for.
I like to think that I'll at least make it out of West Kai. That's my hope.
No.
Just
you're
keep on.
going back
I
down
just
south.
want to keep on climbing. I started in South, went to West, stayed in West. I'm done with West. I want to go to East or North. So
Started at the bottom. Now we're here.
basically.
Yep.
But I could definitely. I would just say this. I definitely see hybrids and cold.
Oh.
And Royals definitely being the new North Kai. I can see
Yep.
those three.
I would love to see Sentai East or higher.
Sentai, yeah, I will put it at East. Maybe
I
higher.
can fully see Sentai going East Kai at the rate they're going. I would love to see androids. Like, we started seeing some good stuff out of Super Perfect Cell this week. I would love to see him be fixed. Like, and I would love for this to be, like, Super Perfect is fixed, and now androids can be East or North as well. Like, that team still has a close place to my heart.
But if he's fixed, he can't have any more Cell Juniors.
To be fair, he never did that in Super Perfect. Only Perfect.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, that's an issue.
So. All right. Next question from Dorgard. When is Pleiply and why is he so Pleiply?
All right, moving on.
I mean, you can have Pleiply. You can drop Kid
Yeah,
Buu or Spopovich for Bobbity, and you'll get Pleiply.
Yeah. He's there waiting for you.
He's just locked behind a B2, but you can get Bobby to use it all you want. Currently, it's up to Namek to pull Pleiply out into the league.
Yep. All right. Next question, also from Havoc. Outside of modding characters to buff weaker teams, what are the top 3 mods you would like to see added to the league? Can be a character, map, Patara, etc.
Characters. I want a fusion character or a Dragon Ball Hero characters.
Nah,
You-
no.
you- you know-
Okay,
you
I'm
know-
leaving as a staff member before we include
only-
one of those crazy fanfic characters.
No, only because there's no other way to expand my team or something like that or whatever without
I
including
refuse to
some
look.
like one of the kids. So like, yeah.
Okay,
Or
so-
or you give
yeah,
me like Kid Broly or Kid Vegeta.
Yeah, we
we
can
got
talk about
actual
some.
options.
Yeah, let's focus on some of the mods we would like to see, because there is another question related to that we can talk about in a minute. So
I would like to, and this is a thought that's been roaming around my head. I would like to find a way to personalize maps a bit more. If there was an easy way to place an image asset like on the floor of a map without like too much work, and we could technically have a team's logo on the map, kind of like how a basketball court does.
that'd be
That's
fun.
something. Yeah, but that's something that I already know is going to be a pain.
For the near future, yes.
So my hope with all the Maya stuff is ways to do stuff easier, so I can do more stuff.
I mean, I can bring up some stuff we could potentially do on that, but that's for another time.
Yeah, and it's not high priority either.
There
what
was,
about
I
you,
was just
Kyle?
saying- oh, go ahead.
For like a more behind the scenes type mod, I'd love to have would be just the ability to add characters without having to replace. Which kind of, you know, it
Make stuff easier.
yeah, that would make our lives a lot easier. So instead of a specific character, just the ability to, you know, add without subtracting, essentially.
Yep.
Like to have a 1,000 character roster.
Right, and then that would open up so many more possibilities. We could open up the theme.
Yeah.
You know, it has such a domino effect that if there was only one thing I could get, it would be that because of just how big it would be for the league.
Yep. Mine is gonna be very similar to that one, Kyle.
Yeah. Other than
So,
that, I don't think there's anything really major. I mean, I guess trying to port in like, yeah, no, that's the big one.
Yeah, mine is going to be very similar. Like right now, there's a hard limit to how many roster slots you can have on the character select screen. If you go over that limit, it starts messing with like what Pataras are unlocked and everything like that. I want to get that fixed because that feeds directly into adding the new characters, and it also opens up some stuff for us as staff to be like, oh hey, we could make a boss rush team that is same characters, but like we could have extra slots just for them, and it just makes it so much easier to have having every team have their own row on the roster selection. What would make character setup a lot easier. Yeah. What about you, Tosh?
Well, besides my little thing that G is already trying to shoot down, now actually there's like some maps like from the BT4 project that I would actually like if we can mod them in, like the Champa and Bears for the tournament arc that they had. That was a real good map. Like Archipelagos. What else? We already have Tournament of Power, but there are like there's already a few like maps and even like some other characters like Beers versus Masu, and such that I would love to see if we can mod them in. In terms of stars, I have no idea because yeah, I didn't really pay attention to like other projects that probably were done and everything like that, whether it was BT4 or just individual projects.
Yeah, I can say for the most part, most people don't mess with the Z items too much. At least to my knowledge. I know BT4 really didn't. I think they mostly just renamed them. But yeah, like those are fun. But yeah. So, next question from the Destroyer. What do you feel about the talks to remove a pool for other characters?
Well, no comment. That's about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to give. Here's an actual answer behind the no comment. I don't want to give people the idea that we're going to remove any specific character because we honestly don't have that planned out that far right now. Right.
Yeah, I think what we have publicly stated is like first up on the chopping block would be characters that are FA locked.
Yeah.
Specifically because we don't want to remove options from teams. Because where we are right now, and this may change. This will probably change in the future. It's just no telling if it's 2023, 2024. Like if kind of like going back, we were just talking about, like if you can mod, like right now we have to replace characters when we mod in a new character. So like when Jiren came in, we had to delete Frieza Soldier.
Technically he fit on a team, but here's the thing, he was never a realistic pickup for anything.
Yeah, like he
was a permanent FA just by the nature of his kit.
Yeah.
And even then, people were sad about him being gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst character and stuff.
Yeah, and so like we are, but we have, because it is a replacement, we have to be very careful with who we remove. Like I can say, like, for people who know, like the modding team, the modding community is working on ways to add new characters back, or without replacing. That work is still ongoing. So like at some point, like we could get to a point where it's not an issue, but until then, like we just have to prioritize who gets removed and when.
Also, it's not just a matter of characters for master lists and that kind of stuff. A pool is a very specific sort of power level in the league, and adding in another modded character could disrupt that, which then changes the FA stuff, which it changes a lot of.
We got to consider the teams that have access to this character that we bring in. We got to consider the strength in which they are and how they affect each team they can potentially be on. We have to consider, as Kaio said, the effect on the FA pool, and if they were not picked up or if they were in the FA pool, how that affects that. There's so many layers to it, and then there's the domino effect of, okay, what if this team picks up and drops them in their FA? What happens then?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to consider.
There is, and that's why we try to be careful with how we do things. Next question Tosh, do you have any concluding thoughts before we move on? Okay. Next question from Steve. How do you feel about Dragon Ball Heroes with it having potential to increase master lists for certain teams, which the canon series cannot provide? Will you guys look to mod some characters in from Dragon Ball Heroes?
Okay, so yeah.
Probably no.
I have a very specific preference to pick characters that are more popular with the general casual public, partially because those are the more well-known ones. Heroes it's known, but it's, first of all, I'm pretty sure it's a Japanese specific media because it's for a Japanese only game.
It's starting to change. Like I think one of the most recent Dragon Ball Heroes things actually came overseas from Japan, but it's still not. I don't remember all the details about it, but but like for the most part, you are correct. But it does seem to be changing.
Gotcha. Beyond that, from a personal standpoint, I hate a lot of the ideas. Some of them are cool, but a lot of them are really fan-picky. Just not great.
That also would make it extremely difficult to figure out where to put people.
Yeah.
Because with how much interaction there is between different characters, forms, and all that kind of shit, if we start introducing characters from that, we then have to follow what teams they were on from that, what relationships they had in that, and it just
it can get difficult on a more concrete level of why it wouldn't be the top of our list. We don't currently have the ability to add characters. We have to replace characters in the league. So modifying, swapping someone out in the current league we only have so much we can do before we start eating into actually really important core characters. So we're not going to do a ton until we can add more characters. Right. There's a lot to pick from before we ever get to Heroes.
Yeah.
Especially with the new movies coming out constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, conceptually... go ahead, Kyle.
No, and I think there's... I don't know if it's been officially confirmed yet, but they're saying that the anime should be coming back in 23 for Super.
Yeah, they already confirmed the Super's getting another season. The manga is going forward, so...
Yeah, I knew the manga, I wasn't sure if they confirmed the anime yet.
Yeah.
The manga is still monthly, so... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to pull from.
There is. I'll just say conceptually, I don't have a problem bringing in from Dragon Ball Heroes. Yes, there are challenges that come along with that, because I'm all for using stuff related to Dragon Ball that could appeal to people who are not currently following the league. I just think the practicalities as of right now, kind of as we've already talked about, outweigh any benefit we get from that.
And I'll reiterate, a lot of my view on Dragon Ball is a personal opinion on show and theory. Take what I say with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else have closing thoughts?
No. Like, I'm fine with it and everything with Dragon Ball Heroes and everything, pulling it in. I do agree that, it may pull in, like, extra stuff to expand on certain things. Depends on, if we ever are able to get characters added without removing.
You can get Baby Gohan.
Anyways, yeah, no, I'll be fine with it overall.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's similar to like fighters. It's another form of media for Dragon Ball.
Yep. All right. Next question from Havoc again. How do you feel about the amount of elites that have happened so far, with a league total of 6, and hybrids having half of them?
Good job, hybrids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gohan's. Was it all Gohans? No, it was 2 Gohans and a Nam.
Yeah.
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 It was. I mean, from hybrids, it was Ultimate Teen and Nam. Like, 2 of those you kind of expect to have an elite at some point.
Yeah,
So,
I can't believe Team got one.
Those 2 Gohans have some of the craziest burst damage. Ult in everything, especially in melee, and Teen and B2s is just insane.
Like, they're very strong contenders. They're very... And it's not surprising they managed to get those elites. Like, Nam is a little more surprising. Not gonna lie. Like, he is good. It was very nice to see, like, what seemed to be a return to form for him. But I don't expect to see that happen again.
I want to tell Donut you said that was nice to watch.
Well, if I recall, that build that they used for Nam was actually early. I was about to say early Goku, Ultimate Gohan's build. So I don't. They're probably just going to have to use that, of course, when he's out. But they already got 2 of his benches out of the way, so I'm not sure if we're going to see that kind of Nam again, even in playoffs when you have to build for 5.
I don't know if the build was really the big reason. Like Mal said, it was probably a bit of just, this isn't going to happen again. So RNG, he got a little lucky that the AI just decided to pop off. I do think he's been underperforming over the last couple seasons to what he's actually capable of. The man has a 1 stock after image. That is so powerful, and his melee is underrated because he has that instant gun punch instead of Ki Blast, and not actually using Ki Blast can be very useful. And the alternative is most likely crappy Ki Blast that eat up your energy and leave you open.
Yeah.
So, I think hybrids are insane for Game 3 elites. Not super surprising with 2 of them. And then the league, I don't know, this happens. Wasn't there like a season where we went dry for a couple weeks and then they started pouring in like crazy?
Yeah, we've had times before where it was like 3, 4, 5 weeks without an elite. Like, it happens. Yeah. Moving on from Lieutenant Rai, thoughts on switching to a conference league with divisions?
I've pondered the idea in my head before.
Yeah.
I don't.
I personally, I like the system we have now with the changing leagues, with not set rivalries and stuff like that. I feel like it makes it a little more open and fun.
Yeah, so that's one of the big detriments to moving into a conference league. You remove a lot of the incentive fight for a higher win-loss record in the main season. I shouldn't say a lot. You remove a decent chunk of incentive by saying, well, you're not going up to a higher Kai. It's sort of bragging right for next season, which hurts. We do want to incentivize teams, even in minor ways like that, to do as well as they can in the regular season. The benefit of a conference, a two-conference league, would make, I don't know about having divisions within the conference. I don't really know how that would work at all. But having two conferences would mean you'll have more of the lower record teams actually get knocked out of the playoffs, or not make the playoffs, as opposed to, like, say one division having all 9-6 records, and then 1-8-7 record, and the 8 and 7 doesn't make the playoffs, but then like 3 5 and 10 teams do. Right, like, there's where the conference helps. It makes it a little bit more fair in that way. I don't know if it's really worth it, because there's a lot that would change with that. And I haven't really thought all the way through, and we haven't talked about it, but I don't know if it's worth all the trouble. I need to ask more about the division idea within the conference. I have absolutely no idea how that would work.
All right. Yeah. So, moving on to XMap. It's a question. Which teams have surprised you the most so far this season, either in terms of how well they are doing or how much they're struggling?
Cold, I think, is surprising because Sarban had an amazing week against Muscle, and then I forgot who they fought too, but he did pretty damn well there. And then Mecha Frieza wasn't pulling his weight until he needed to this last week. And they're just sort of... There's only one character every week that's not performing up to par, it seems. But everyone else is exceeding what they can do. So, I mean, good on Cold. I did not expect them to turn around their team so well, especially with 2 form changes. Or 3 form changes. Was Zarbon started Monster Form last season, right?
I believe so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, with 3 form changes, I didn't expect to make such a big difference. Bujins and ED being near the bottom.
Yeah.
I think it's been a lot of bad luck for those two. Bujins literally lost because of random clashes. And then ED's had a lot of close fights.
Mid Goku just doesn't want to ult anymore.
Which is weird.
He did one last week, but yeah, he's been a little... I'd say it's more his accuracy's dipped, and that's just RNG.
Right. No, he keeps doing his rush B2 a lot
Yeah,
of times.
because like,
Yeah.
what is it, week 4? Yeah, he did his rush B2. He hit with it, but then he did Now I'm Mad. Did not do a B2. He just got gunned down. So
Yeah, that happens.
I would advise ED to stick one. Don't change up and go. Stick with it. I think the tendencies are still good.
Right. Yeah.
Just it's not playing out super well. But the tendencies are there. So roll the dice. Once they start hitting, it should change.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo that for some of the teams that are in that are struggling right now. I think a lot of it's just been random. You know, look, it's AI versus AI. You're gonna have crap luck sometimes.
15 matches is not that many in the grand scheme of things.
No.
And I think that's a lot of it too on both sides. Like, I'm really happy to, like with hybrids, like they got 3 elites. I mean, you're just hitting the high side of the good luck, like, so yeah.
I expect them to taper off a bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do sneak into North.
Yeah, like the hybrids, I expect to be a strong team this season. Cinema, I expect to be a strong team this season.
They better be a strong team.
Yeah,
Their lineup is insane.
Royals, like I expect that to be a very strong team this coming season. At the rate they're performing, regardless of whether they swap Deborah out or not. Yeah. Moving on. Also from XMap, seeing as the Gauntlet has been revamped into the boss rush event, do you think anyone will be able to beat it the first time? If so, which Kai do you think is most likely to win?
I don't know. Mal, I kind of joined Mal out there for a little bit in the testing dungeon. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
If I have to pick a Kai, I'm thinking South with Cinema, Kaiju, Sentai, and Androids.
Yeah, they could do well. Especially since Cinema and Kaiju have and Sentai have. You're allowed to use FAs, right? Yeah, they're allowed to use FAs.
No, because the Gauntlet, no, they weren't. Because the Gauntlet, we didn't even allow FAs then, and I'm pretty sure we kept that same ruling.
Yeah, like for the most, yeah, like character selection basically works the exact same way as Gauntlet, with the exception of like Patara usage rules are gone, or usage limitations are gone. So I don't think FAs were allowed on the Gauntlet, so they wouldn't be allowed here.
I can see West Kai actually making it, not because of bias, but like you have, and I'm strictly speaking for the characters though. Okay, Ultimate Gohan, you got Kid Trunks, you got Team Gohan, you got 18, and then you have Hercule.
I'm going to say that team is probably going to have more trouble because of Hercule.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, because Hercule can be amazing. He can be the best character in the league when he wants to be, and he can also be a 20k character because he can't get his. He stays in melee too long, and he can't get anything going. It is very flip of the coin.
It depends. It depends.
Yeah, I mean, I would
give it to North or South. I think Cinema with Broly or Gogeta, and then Sentai with Jiren, goes with Cell and Kaiju Bardock. Probably run the best group.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry,
it
I
will
gotta
be
say probably 17 more so than Cell. Cell hasn't been showing up so far.
Yeah, 17 is both great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be a tall order for any Kai to take it this season. Yeah. It is not impossible. I could see potentially I could see like very specific builds in every Kai potentially taking it. Like with East Kai, like if Cold sent like Mecha Frieza, and if East Kai used their ult potential from the Friezas, West Kai from like Ultimate and Teen, North Kai between the Vegetas and the Gohan Buu or Kid Buu. Like there are specific lineups in each Kai I think could potentially do it. I think probably either West Kai or North Kai probably have the best shot. But we'll see. I think it will be a fun show no matter what.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give the edge to whoever has the higher burst damage. But in terms of do I think anyone's actually going to beat it? I hope not. I hope you guys all run into a wall.
That is certainly possible. Like all I will say is like from the first character to step out on the field of the boss rush event, like the first character I have watched go elite, like and for those, for just as one of the things we did tell people, one of the ways each character gets more difficult is they have more health. I've seen the first character who has the base 40k um, go pull back-to-back elite or near elite performances, and he is the weakest of the characters.
The other downside is like if they tag. The
Yeah.
tag game can be crazy, especially on their side. So
Yep. It is definitely a fight. Good luck to everybody. Moving on to Hey Ryan Let's Play's question. Since the Gauntlet has been replaced, will the Gauntlet become an off-season event? However, instead of each Kai having a chance, it could be each team. A 4-week Gauntlet off-season event is the idea.
Okay. Not something we've spoken about. My initial thought is probably not. Because we're actually not lacking in events during off-season. A lot of the off-season is taken up by the TOP. A couple of events we already have planned. I don't know how easy it'd be to fit in another 4 whole weeks. That requires a lot of planning and really heavy streams.
well, if it's 4 weeks, no. But if it was just like the regular Gauntlet, that's more doable. Considering like this past season, we had an opening for we did 2 streams for ET4 and everything. So it's like that. I'm fine with like pulling in the regular Gauntlet maybe.
Yeah.
So as an off-season event.
We also have the tag team tournament event that we could look at using. Just to echo what G said, nothing official has been decided. In the past, like old league time, I suggested changing the Gauntlet format to where it's still each Kai, but every Kai faces all 4 rounds to see like who can get the most victories against the Gauntlet. Like that, like, and we could do like make it a 2-week event to where it's still 8 matches a week. So like rounds 1 and 2 the first week, and then rounds 3 and 4 the following week, or something like that, as a way to make use of what the Gauntlet is. Like there's ways to handle that. We just haven't talked about it and made it official.
One of the things I'll throw out there though is, while part of the reason we're changing up the Gauntlet is to make the Tenkaichi Ball stream a little bit more concise, that wasn't the only reason. So it would be a little, I would personally, just talking about me not as a voice for the entire staff, I would personally be uncomfortable putting Gauntlet as it is right now into an off-season event. It would need modification so it's smoother, it's easier, it's not such a big like 2-week plan and then do. Maybe 3-week, depending. I forget all the mechanics of setting it up, of getting it going.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a heavy, monstrous event. It's not like the tag team.
Yeah, like it would definitely need some modifications from what it is now. Like at minimum, I think it would need to be 2 weeks just to avoid like the logistics issues that caused us to look at the Gauntlet. Had to do with the fact that you had builds, more than 3 builds for characters. That was the main logistics issue, not to mention like the insane number of save states. And so I think if you at least broke it out to a 2-week event, along with planning during the off season, like between the bowl and whenever we held the Gauntlet, that could be doable. But again, like there would need to be some work on our side to see how feasible that is. And I don't know if we would do it this off season, because I've got a couple ideas for like other stuff we could do, like doing go ahead, Chi.
One last point on adding events into the off season. Part of the off season is supposed to be a bit more of an off time for us as staff as well. Not in terms of we need to stop doing everything, obviously not, but we do a lot of our actual modification work to the league and like reviewing.
There's a
the
lot of
changes
behind.
Yeah,
lot
a
of behind-the-scenes shit.
lot that happens in the months of the off season, and adding events always takes away from that time. So it's a balance that we have to play with.
We have
So
families
that's why I'm
to go.
very hesitant about Gauntlet.
Yeah. All good points. So yeah, let's move on to our last question. Last one is from Havoc. What teams are on the radar to be buffed, and what teams are on the radar for nerfs? Too early.
No one's on the radar.
Yeah, like it's too early to have those conversations. Like we've said in the past, like to look at teams for being OP. Just to start the conversation, like no guarantee anything will be done, is 11-4. So like once that is a guarantee, once a team is locked into that as their minimum win-loss record, like we'll be taking a look at something. But like just as a good example of, hey, we're gonna look at it, but we're not gonna guarantee anything, is Resurrected Warriors. Like they hit 13-2 and we did nothing because a lot of those wins was because they had a really good FA.
And a lot of those ones were also very close. Like, it wasn't like they were constantly stomping.
Yeah.
I do want to also add this regarding the Resurrected Warriors thing, because that isn't like the bare minimum that we do for a team if they're not worthy of like actually being nerfed. Resurrected Warriors had a massive change to their team that made us go and look at it more carefully than we would say if Derp randomly went 12-3. We look at the context of how they went 12-3. 15 weeks isn't a lot, mind you. It's a very, very, very small sample size. If we looked at their 12-3 and said they could have easily gone 10-5, that 12-3 doesn't showcase any singular issue or a couple of issues that need to be adjusted, we'll scrap the idea of like doing anything more.
Yeah.
There really needs to be something more than just the record.
Yeah. And at worst, we look at it, we're like, hell if we know, we'll throw it through a gauntlet of like a couple hundred tests and see what happens there. Like, and then we'll make more of a decision.
Yeah, the win-loss record is one of multiple indicators that could pop and go off to make us look in that direction.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Because
even
like
then, one good season performance or one bad season performance doesn't also mean that there should be a buff or a nerf or stuff like that.
Yeah.
We hear it. I personally, since the old league, I hear it every season. 5 weeks into it, oh, X needs to be nerfed. Oh, X needs to be buffed. Usually, they don't need to have anything done to them.
Yeah, like it's one thing when it's like what happened with Muscle, where it's like, oh wait, here's these really good transformations they can get for cheap, and you've got 3 of them on a team. Like that's one thing. Like, but as we said, it's another thing when it's, oh, they just randomly went 13-2, but it could have easily been 9-6 or 10-5.
With Muscle, it was about reducing volatility and bringing those transformations, not even necessarily the team, just all those transformations more in line with where we thought they were actually worth in their cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Alrighty. That is it for the questions. Does anyone have any closing remarks they want to make?
Make sure you guys follow our social medias. Help us grow.
Yeah.
And
Very
don't
much
forget-
appreciated.
Don't forget in the comments of the videos to put down your shorts ideas so that we can make more videos without having to hunt for ourselves.
Yeah, that's always fun, right, Kyle? Yeah.
thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys in about a month from now on the next Dragon Cast. See ya.
So,
Bye.